Whether you're in the process of quitting smoking weed, quitting drinking alcohol, quitting vaping, or quitting smoking cigarettes, each of these quitting processes have one thing in common, and that's that it requires practice. In today's brief video, I'm going to explain exactly what I mean about that. But before I do, if you're new to the channel, my name's Dr. Frank. I'm the founder of AddictionMindset recovery coaching programs, which are dedicated to helping people quit nicotine, THC, energy drinks, and adult media content, substances that I once struggled with. To learn more about our free and paid program resources, check out the pinned comment or the video description after this video. It takes practice. I remember early on in my sobriety, I was struggling, to say the least, for the first few weeks, the first few months, and arguably up to the first year. But what I didn't realize was that I was in the process of practicing remaining sober each time that I didn't smoke weed, each time that I didn't drink alcohol, each time that I didn't hit my vape or didn't buy a can of dip or smoke a cigarette. Substance use takes practice. If you're anything like me, the first time you took a rip of a bong, you coughed like a banshee. Or the first time you took a shot of hard liquor, you made a face or you gagged a little bit. But then with practice, taking a rip off a bong over and over again, you coughed a whole lot less. You started to build a tolerance maybe for alcohol, for liquor. And suddenly now you don't make a face anymore when you take it. You don't gag, right? And then there's the practice of managing substance use throughout our day-to-day life, right? Practicing being high around your family, practicing being drunk around friends and maybe an inappropriate situation or around coworkers or at work. You practice substance use for however many years that you've been consuming the substance at an addictive or abusive rate. For me, that was around a period of 9+ years, and I was practicing all those years, getting better and better and better at taking drugs. Quitting drugs is no different. It takes practice. I often refer to sobriety as a discipline. It's a discipline that requires practice. You can't expect to be good at anything in life without practice, right? Like I love playing golf, but I can't expect to be good at golf unless I practice. I've built businesses over my years, and it took practice. It took failure. It took repetitive efforts over and over again until I got good at it. Even making YouTube videos, I now have thousands of YouTube videos. It took a lot of practice to get this channel to where it's at today. Sobriety is no different. Yet when we get sober, I think a lot of times people expect this instantaneous change to occur. And the only instant change that occurs is the change that you're now no longer consuming these substances because of a commitment that you made to yourself. I recall going to my first family party, getting through the holidays, driving in my car without a vape, sitting alone in my room at night, not smoking weed, not consuming adult media content. I had to practice not consuming substances in each of those various situations. And in many cases, more than once. The first time I went to a big family party on a holiday, it was shockingly hard not to drink alcohol. The first time I was really hanging out with a lot of my friends again who smoke weed, it was hard to not want to smoke weed. The first time I was driving in my car without a dip of tobacco or hitting my vape, it was challenging. But with repetitive practice, the practice of sobriety, choosing to say no to the continued use of that substance over and over and over again, each of those things became easier. And I think if you're in the process of stopping drug use or on the journey of continuing to quit using drugs, I think you have to pause and ask yourself, what things is it that you are actively practicing? What do you practice on the weekends? What do you practice on the weekdays? Are you practicing continued substance use? Are you continuing to indulge over and over and over again? Or are you practicing building a better life, a better future, a better income, and better relationships, better whatever for yourself? And that's not to say that someone who uses substances doesn't already have a great income, great relationships, and a bright future ahead of them. In fact, many people that we do coaching with, myself once included, do. But it takes practice. It takes practice. So when I view the practice of sobriety, I look at alternative efforts, alternative activities, alternative things that I could be doing instead of substance use. So if you're used to consuming drugs every time you're stressed, are you going to practice deep breathing? Are you going to practice the physiological sigh? Are you going to practice taking cold showers? Are you going to practice calling a therapist instead of just freaking out and consuming drugs? Are you going to practice just dealing with the issues on your own through watching YouTube videos about stress management? Or are you going to pick up that joint? Are you going to pick up the drink? Are you going to pick up the vape? And are you going to reinstate that behavior over and over and over again, continually reinforcing those already strong pathways in the brain that are prone to addiction and continued substance use? You have to ask yourself, what is it that I'm going to practice? And you have to have the proper expectation that chances are this is going to suck in the beginning. Chances are you're not going to be good at it. Like the first time I played golf, I sucked. The first time I cooked a pizza on my Oni pizza oven, I charred the hell out of it. The first time I made pizza dough, I didn't do a good job with it. The first time I made a YouTube video, it sucked. Go back and watch my very first videos. The content was great, but the quality, the sound, the background, it was very distracting. It sucked. But with years of repetitive practice, I've gotten pretty good at golf. I've gotten pretty good, well, not good at making pizzas, but I can make a good pizza now. I've gotten certainly better throughout my YouTube career, my YouTube journey. I've grown different businesses outside of addiction recovery coaching. It took practice. No one is good at anything without repetitive effort over a prolonged period of time. But once you do something enough repetitively over a prolonged period of time, in the same way that you've practiced consuming drugs, as you practice stopping, I guarantee you 99% of people, they start to get good at it. And when you start to get good at it is when you really can enjoy it. I think there's something to be said for maybe the struggle that we experience early on in sobriety and the amount of effort that it takes to get through that initial challenge, right? That's a nice learning process. That's a period of growth. That's a period of development for a lot of people. At least it was for me in my sobriety. That's how I viewed that challenge. But then once you go to that family and you start that family event and you start to enjoy yourself, once you go out to a restaurant and you don't feel pressured to have a drink, once you can sit alone at night in your room and not have to think about, am I going to smoke weed? Am I going to watch adult media content? Am I going to go binge shopping online? Once you don't have to worry about that anymore because you've practiced not doing it so many times, it's an incredibly rewarding feeling. It's a good feeling. If you've ever practiced something, and then you got really, really good at it, and then you wanted that something, or you really took it on and you started to really excel, can you think of what that momentum felt like? Can you think of how rewarding that momentum was? It is no different in the process of, in the discipline of the practice, the process of sobriety. It is no different. That good feeling, that feeling of positive momentum, that feeling of wanting to keep going because now you're getting good at it, it can happen. It can happen in the same way that we went down the wrong path with substance use and that feeling of wanting to keep going again and doing it more and more and more and practicing drug use. We can do the same thing for sobriety. It just takes time, it takes patience, and it takes practice. Practice building the life that you want versus destroying the one that you have. If this content is helpful, if this is a different frame of mindset for you than you've looked at this before, check out our one-on-one coaching programs. We tailor them to you. It has a money-back guarantee. You can book a call in the pinned comment below. I have open sessions available during the week and weekends. Or check out our free content. I have tons of PDFs. I have an ebook on how to overcome addiction. And then we have our supplements. If it's just really the withdrawals that you're having a challenging time getting through, even though you've tried again and again and you've screwed up, check out our Kick It, Crave Less chewing gum product with KSM 66 ashwagandha and NAC, N-acetylcysteine. It's a cannabis-free, stimulant-free, nicotine-free chewing gum designed to help people quit. It's a gum with a kick designed to help you quit. That's our new tagline. All right, guys, until next time, or if you don't want to do any of that, follow me into the next playlist where I talk about quitting weed. Until then.